Hello, everyone. I am Bran'sTech Hedgepeth, lifelong learner, communicator, and of course, your friend. And I'm so glad to be here with you all for this episode of the Tansson Talks show, where our mission is, of course, to bring people together. So I'm very excited to get into today's episode. And so without further ado, please welcome my guest for today, Lizz Yimer. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast today.
Yeah, of course. I'm so excited to have you here. And so, first of all, how have you been doing today?
Great. It's really nice weather outside. It's been a good day. Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, this is just such a great day, and yeah, I'm just so excited to to get into this.
Me too. It's been a while.
Yes, it has, and so to catch up any new viewers or listeners. So you were first on my Bran'sTech podcast, back in summer of 2021, and actually the episode released June 9th of that year. So it's crazy to think how long it's been.
That's been a really long time. Wow. It's crazy how fast time flies.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And back then, and I'll let you reintroduce yourself in a moment, but back then you had just finished your time at Thomas Nelson Community College, now Virginia Peninsula. You were the outgoing, student government president, and you were just about to start your time, in a couple months with Virginia Commonwealth University. So, are you able to please, do us the honor of reintroducing yourself to us now?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I'm Liz. I have finished my degree at Virginia Commonwealth University back in December. I am now looking to move to Boston to pursue a job opportunity to do some research at Harvard. And explore some other creative pursuits that I never thought I would ever do in my life. It's been a crazy journey, and I'm so glad for all of the opportunities that I've taken, for all of the friends and memories that I've made in the last 2 years since I've been on the podcast. It's been amazing.
Well, I'm just, so excited for you. And first of all, congratulations on your position. I mean, that's wonderful.
Thank you so much. Yeah. It's a post-bac position, so I'll be moving to Boston for a year.
That is so great. And and didn't you just do an internship, there a year ago?
I did. So in summer of 2022, I did a was it 8-week summer intensive internship? It might have been 10 weeks. Yeah, 10-week summer intensive internship at Harvard. And I'll be working in the same lab doing a similar, although not the same project, but it's a neuroscience lab, and I'll be doing some research about how the brain essentially develops.
Wow, that is so interesting. And so yeah, was neuroscience your overall major at VCU?
Actually, my major at VCU was biology. Yeah, it was biology.
Yeah, and so did you enjoy your time at VCU for the time that you were there? Because you were in and out of there pretty quickly.
Yeah, I had a lot of credits that I had transferred over, luckily. So I only spent about a year and a semester at VCU, but I really enjoyed my time. I mean, VCU is a great art school, has wonderful mentors, just a really great community. I feel like I got plugged in with the right people really fast. I made a lot of friends, and just it was just a really, really nice experience being here in Richmond. I'm going to miss it a lot.
Well, at least you were able to have time well spent, and so as of right now, are you still in Richmond?
Yeah, as of right now, I am still in Richmond currently, getting ready to pack up and move in a few short weeks. But I'm trying to enjoy it while I can.
Yeah, I bet. And so, how have these months after graduation, been for you, and trying to, I guess, figure out what's next?
Yeah, so I graduated in December of 2022, and I got a job as an animal tech. So responsible for managing the animals that um, we perform experiments on. And it wasn't for me. I was in a really dark place in my life because I have always had this like creative outlet that I had never explored. I had already always repressed. And so the last few months for me have really been about exploring other opportunities outside of STEM, and really giving that a shot. I applied for graduate schools. I got into a couple um, really good ones, and I just completely freaked out. I had a moment where it was like, I'm not sure if this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. And so that's kind of where I decided to do a post-bac to kind of explore some other opportunities. I think your 20s is a time where you're exploring and figuring it out and making mistakes and learning about what you like and you don't like. And I felt like moving to Boston and really trying to explore some opportunities, specifically performance, was something that I needed to do. So the last couple months, I've been taking some acting classes and some vocal lessons, doing some dancing, really getting into performance. I feel has been completely refreshing. It's something that I had lacked even in my days at Thomas Nelson, now Virginia Peninsula Community College. And I'm just really grateful to have that other layer of my life just exist with me, alongside me.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to find a way to show your creative energy and, you know, I mean, and your true enthusiasm because, for the few times I had a chance to interact with you, I mean, your enthusiasm for everything just really shines through. And so I'm glad that you're able to, to find an avenue to be able to share that.
Yeah, I think we all have passions and things that we're really excited about. I think for me, it was really hard to deviate from the path that is so linear, like STEM and this specific like degree path. Getting a PhD is really linear. They have tracks for you, right? Like you go to school, get your bachelor's, and then you go into a PhD, and you get your PhD. That's 4 or 5, sometimes 6 years, and it's all planned out for you. Doing something like performance, dancing, acting, music, all of the creative things, they aren't linear. And what I've learned too is nothing really is linear. If you go and ask somebody on the street, like, what they're doing now, and if they had expected that they would be doing that thing 20, 30 years ago, none of them say yes. Some of them, wind up in the position that they're at just by chance. And so I'm learning and deconstructing this idea that everyone knows what they're doing, and that paths are linear, and it's okay to change and to grow and to explore and do new things.
I mean, but that is so true. And I mean, even from doing this podcast, even for people who are just starting off in their careers, I mean, it's so interesting hearing like how people even got to where they are now. And I mean, for some people it might just be just a gentle progression of what they've always done, but for others, I mean, it may just be I met one person, or I did this one thing that was completely out of my comfort zone and just opened up possibilities that may not even be related to that, but it sort of stems from that one experience.
Yeah. Opportunities are everywhere lurking if you're willing to look for them, for sure.
Yeah, and so for you, like prior to your official graduation this past December of 2022, so like had you had any sort of ways to even just for yourself to use these creative outlets or to even, get to express yourself outside of just the academics?
So it's really interesting that you say that. I think doing a degree in biology specifically um, is really intensive. I mean, you're taking like physics, and sometimes it's like 2 and 3 lab credits at a time. Like I remember I was taking physics and orgo and um, biochemistry all in the same semester, and I had no time to be creative or to express myself. There were moments though. I remember during my internship last summer in 2022, I took dance lessons, and that was a pivotal moment. And I'll talk about the pivotal moments in a second, but it was a pivotal moment where I had realized that I'm not just a student. I'm not just um, a lab scientist or a lab tech. That I'm multifaceted, and that's just a different side of me. I can also be a dancer. I can also be a performer or singer or whatever it is that I want to do. It is in the reality of my scope. And I've also met a ton of creative people who have really influenced my perception of my reality and have really broadened my scope. So I think that's also important, to surround yourself with a community and have people that push you and tell you to come do some random dance class or rock climbing. I mean, I've just had so many really good relationships, friendships within the last 2 years that I feel like have really brought out this creative side in me. And my family and everyone has just been so supportive of this change, and it's been really, really nice.
Well, I'm so glad that you're able to have these outlets and have like people who are able to push you in these pivotal moments and really allow for you to have that creative vision, even if at the time that you're like, this isn't what I do, like I'm biology, but you're still able to have these experiences.
Yeah, yeah. More on the like pivotal moment kind of thing. I realized that there are these pivotal moments in your life. And what that means is it's all that is required for these pivotal moments is for it to be a big change. Well, a change, and the requirement of that change is for it to be scary. Um, and for me, it kind of helped me realize that I am, like I said, like not just one-sided, and nobody's one-sided. And it's really securing, I feel like, to think about these moments, these pivotal moments that change the trajectory of your life. That had you have done something different, you might be in a different space. You might be a different person. Um, it's almost sort of comforting and scary at the same time. But I think that's what makes life worth living, is taking risks and going on adventures. And I don't know, I think staying stagnant for me is something that I've grown to really fear. Just being the same person and not exploring, not giving myself a chance to be adventurous and to live. Yeah. And to have people that that will push you ultimately to and support you and care about you and want you to succeed. I think that's really important.
Well, at least you're able to have these experiences, and I mean, and just be able to strive with them. And so, like over these next, few months, like, do you have an idea of some of the different creative ventures that you plan on doing?
Yeah, actually. So after I moved to Boston, I'm hoping to continue to do some of these dancing and vocal lessons, but mainly I'm moving to really take this year and focus on my acting career. I have started doing some small short film stuff, just background. Um, and I love it. And I hope to continue to do stuff in the New England area, maybe even in the DMV area, um, and really give it a shot.
Well, I'm just so glad that you are able to, I mean, to really take this time and, devote it to yourself, that you're willing to take a chance on yourself and, and do a mixture of both, go into both, the academics that you enjoy, but then also have the creative side that you're able to, pursue along the way and just keep them in balance.
Yeah, I think it's really important. I for so long was only one side. I was only a student or um, a sibling, a sister, or just a friend. I feel like it's really important to remember that what you do doesn't define you. Your job doesn't define you. You're you're so much more complex than your work. And it took me a really long time to realize that. I'm still having a hard time digesting that idea.
Well, at least, I'm glad that you're able to at least, begin figuring out. And I know, of course, that, that you'll continue exploring it and figuring out as you, progress over this year. And so out of curiosity, I guess for a creative question, from myself. So do you plan on any way of documenting your journey, like throughout this year that you're going to devote to yourself?
You know what, Brandon? That's actually a really good idea that I had not thought of. That would be really cool. And I've always seen like people document their journeys and their growth. Because documentation could be multiple forms. It could be journaling. It could be recording. It could be pictures, right? I think that would be really interesting in any capacity to journal or to vlog. That would be really cool. I had not thought about that, but I think I will document this journey because I've changed so much in the last 2 years, but I almost can't even recall who I was from 2 years ago, if that makes sense. I feel like a completely different person, but I can't really go back unless I look at like old pictures and videos that I've taken. So I think it would be interesting to vlog this journey and to really see how far I change, if I change at all in the next year.
Yeah, well, if you definitely pursue that, and it's anything that that any of us can check out, please feel free to let me know because I would love to, of course, follow you along with your journey and and check out all the amazing stuff that you are doing and will continue to do.
That is so sweet. I will definitely let you know for sure.
Yeah, and in terms of like you're saying, like about looking back is since we're using the 2 year time, is that because we had recorded our podcast 2 years ago, you could actually re-listen to that and and hear how much has has even changed, since then, because that was before you had even started your time at VCU, and it was summer just like it is summer now. And so yeah, I mean, it's so crazy. I mean, even to go back to my own, to my own self, and thinking about like even like how I used to record then, and how I used to edit, and sort of like it almost puts you back into that vision of where you were then, as almost like a little time capsule of yourself.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm definitely gonna have to go back and listen to the differences between then and now. Yeah, that is really cool that I'll always have that, you know?
Yeah, that is so cool. And I know, like, back then, one of the things that you were saying, which I think relates a little bit to now, is you were mentioning back then about how your experiences just a few months prior to that, like with the TNCC, like virtual studio, had even like helped give you a voice that you never thought you would have back then.
Yeah, I really, thinking back on my memories with the virtual studio and my time there at community college, it really gave me the tools that I needed to do some undercover self-discovery work. It made me more confident and able to make decisions about, life-altering things. It gave me a voice, and I just realized that I loved creating and that I love talking to people and hearing their experiences and sharing my own experiences, and it was something that I really value and attribute a lot of my personal growth and success.
Well, I'm so glad that you were able to, I mean, to have that experience back then, and and it almost like in a way helps you set you up on your path that you're heading on now.
Yeah, we did a lot of like recording for, that's so crazy. Like, even thinking about, we did recordings for like the school and for commercials. We did like podcasts, like um with other people, and that's a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now, thinking about it. I just last night was on set with a short film shoot as a background extra, and that's a lot of what we did, interacting with people, doing like voiceovers, uh, being on camera, just interacting with the crew. I mean, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, I loved that, and that was my first introduction, was the virtual studio. um, yeah, that is really remarkable and a crazy connection that I had not thought about.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to have that, and actually, I can't fully recall when you had initially joined. Was that your idea, or were you suggested to be on? I can't fully remember.
I was suggested to be on. Yes, I was suggested to be on the virtual studio as sort of a, not face. I wasn't a podcaster, but I kind of did some of the like commercials and advertising and stuff like that for the virtual studio, which is really cool.
Yeah, that is so cool. And so, for you, what was your, I guess, initial like reaction to being asked to to be a part of it? Were you all for, or were you hesitant to go into it initially?
Actually, I was really excited. I think in the digital age, we just needed something, in the midst of COVID, where nobody was really connecting with one another. We really needed something that brought people together, and it was something that I was ultimately really excited about. Advertising and podcast and just bringing people together is always been something that I'm really passionate about, and so I was thrilled to be a part of it and to even be considered.
Well, I'm glad that that you were really able to do this, and and seeing your progression from then to now. I guess looking back at yourself from back then, what is something that you would, I guess, say to your former self from back then, or something that I guess really stands out, like I guess has changed a bit from then to now?
Something that I would say to my former self. Um, that there is a such thing as duality. You can be really creative. You can also be interested in other things. In fact, I think that it makes you a more interesting person and well-rounded if you're ultimately curious about multiple things and pursue a lot of different avenues. Um, I think my younger self felt like I needed to specialize and get really good at one particular thing. And I think if I could go back, I would tell her that I need to keep my childlike innocence and be curious about everything and to question everything. Because ultimately, that is what really life is about. It's about the questions that we ask and the adventures and opportunities that we take.
I love that. And yeah, like I said, it is always like such an honor being able to to speak with you, Liz. And I'm so glad to to hear about your story, because like I said, because I know we had of course been like planning planning this for I think a year and a half, I think.
Yeah, honestly, I I think time has just slipped away for me. But it is so great to be back, and I hope to be back, sometime soon to give another update, maybe about how my creative pursuits are going for sure.
Yeah, I honestly cannot wait to to hear all about it, and all the adventures you're going to have, and even the ones you're having right now. Yeah, so I guess from now to I guess when you're going to be truly going after your pursuits, because I know you said you want to have you know a year for your personal growth. At what point does that year officially start, or does it start now?
So it'll start from July to July is like my official moving and everything. Um, that's when I'm moving to Boston to start. So uh, I am doing like science stuff. I'm working in a lab, but this lab will allow me some creative freedom um, to really pursue some of these other creative avenues. I have a really great mentor there, and she inspires me a lot. Actually, um, over the summer, I had gotten really close with my mentor, and she really encouraged me to ask these questions about myself. I mean, I have so many people that have ultimately widened my scope, but she really had me ask some hard questions. And ultimately, I felt that going back into this lab while pursuing some of these creative um, interests would be the best. So I will be doing some academic work. I will be a student, but I'm hoping to also um, take some time and really explore some of these creative opportunities as well. So it'll start from July to July, hopefully.
Well, of course, you know very well I'm wishing you all the best, and definitely keep me updated on anything and everything that that you do, because like I said, it's just extraordinary that you're able to have this opportunity, because I'm sure everyone dreams of being at Harvard, first of all, but two, that you're also able to yeah to be yourself, have these creative endeavors and just strive to be who you are.
Yeah, yeah. I really appreciate that. I am incredibly grateful for all of the opportunities that I've been given. I did not get here by myself. I've had a lot of support and help from my mentors. And I'm really excited to see where life takes me. I think I will always love neuroscience. I will always love learning about the brain and just learning in general. But I'm excited to also leave some room for some of these creative endeavors that I've pushed back for so long.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's one of the things is that one thing I always appreciate about, going through life is that we always have room to grow, and that we're always, we're given we always have so many opportunities in front of us. And what I like is, especially like what you're doing, is not only are you exploring all the opportunities in front of you, you're also seeking and finding your own. And that's something I really like that you're doing. So keep, like I said, truly keep striving and doing that. And can't wait to speak with you, and hopefully about a few months to to a year, and really just see how everything's been progressing for you.
I can't wait, and I will vlog the experience and make sure to share it with you. I really, really appreciate you so much for having me on this podcast.
Yeah, of course, and thank you so much for being here and just, sharing your story, and thank you for being also just such a great supporter of me, my content, and everything else that I do. I just so greatly appreciate your support.
You're great. You're doing what you love, and I admire that so much about you. I have so much respect for you as a person, and a lot of my inspiration comes from the people who are doing the things that they love, So I really do admire that about you.
Thank you so much. I so greatly appreciate that. But if there's anywhere online that people can follow your story, where is the best place for them to go ahead and check you out?
I would say either Instagram or TikTok.
Awesome. And so are you able to share where you are on Instagram and TikTok?
Yes. Do you mean like an at? Oh, you can follow my Instagram. It's _ELIZZABBETHH. Or my TikTok, and I think my TikTok at is at, let me see. It's at its ITS, yeah, YA, girl, GIRLIZ.Z.
Well, awesome. Well, I definitely hope everyone who is watching and listening right now definitely goes and follows you on both of those platforms. But last but certainly not least, I did want to allow for you to go ahead and close out this episode by giving a final thought to those who are currently tuned in.
Mm-hmm. Final thought. There's just so many. If I could give you guys a final thought, I think it would be this. Be uncomfortable. Put yourself in situations that are scary. Give yourself time to adapt and always learn and grow and try to become better. That was kind of a lot of final thoughts, but those are just a few of the ones that came into mind that I feel like I really learned the last 2 years since being on this podcast. Yeah.
I absolutely love that. Like I said, Liz, I've said it a few times here, and I'll say it again. I so appreciate you being on here, and I am so excited to have you on again in the future. Definitely don't be a stranger.
I won't. I'll definitely keep you updated. I'll post those vlogs. I'll have to get a new camera, but
Well, awesome. Well, if it happens before this is released, I'll definitely try to link it here. But if not, like I said, for those of you watching or listening, thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode. I always appreciate it. But until our episode next week, have a wonderful day, everyone, and let's make things happen. I'll see y'all later, and take care. We're here on a mission to bring people together.